I'm going to talk a little bit about the rise of UKIP, how things are going on, and how important it is that we don't rest on our laurels, which I've gathered from this meeting as I just sat in, that's not happening here. But just because things are going well doesn't mean I will just sit there and expect the votes to flood in. When I joined UKIP in 2011, and I looked around me at the local branches and the local constituencies, had a set group of people. But a lot of people that I saw were sitting around, they were moaning in back rooms, they were unhappy about this, they were unhappy about that. There wasn't anything positive going on. And something's changed over the recent few months. And suddenly there's this positive, dynamic, exciting political party that's coming together with lots of great ideas, fantastic, radical prospectus for changing our country and improving it so much, for rolling back some of the awful, dreadful changes to our country that went on during the Blair years, but more importantly than that, kicking down this dark door that's the European Union and allowing us to walk through that to a place where there's a thing called freedom.
Yes.
And in a free country, we have the freedom to make our own laws, our own rules, more regulation, less regulation, however we choose as British people. And I'm not ashamed to say, being British is winning first prize in the raffle of life. It is the best thing that you can be, to be British.
Yeah.
Now, whether you were born here or you came here and you cared about the country so much that you became part of our setup, that's fantastic. And we spoke about Amjad Bashir, I heard you mention his name. What a wonderful man,
yes.
And one of my good friends in UKIP. I admire the man so much. And he tells a great story, and I'm sure he won't mind me pinching it, that someone said to him, "Oh, why do you go on about Britain? You weren't even born here." He says, "Yeah, I know, I came over when I was 6. Don't blame me, I came as soon as I could." and this is the thing, he loves our country, and he loves everything about it. So this is why when they lie about us, they call us racist and all these other things. It's absolute nonsense. What we are is a party for British people. And you don't have to have been born in Britain to love Britain. What is important is not the colour of your skin or any of the other things, it's what's in your heart. And a British man or woman's heart is the best heart, the strongest, the most valiant heart you can possibly have. And as we've moved on, I did work once upon a time full time. And with a very understanding wife that I've got, she's allowed me to no longer work full time for a limited period of time. My role is, my wife's star is disabled, she's our disability spokesman. She's very, very active, but part of what I do is I'm her carer. So I look after her from day to day. But rather than going out working 9 to 5, I do UKIP. And every penny of our savings, every penny that we've got, we've thrown into this cause. It's not a party, it's a cause to free our country. And we've got until May the 22nd, where I've got to get elected, otherwise I'm going to be in trouble with the one. But this is fine, because now we both of us spend all of our free time, our free energy, thinking about how we can work to make UKIP more successful. Star's just achieved a fantastic thing, actually. There was a taxi firm in Middlesbrough that was saying they wouldn't pick up disabled people. Too much hassle. No, I do. Star got involved in that. There was a press release went out where Star, you really need to know, I know you do. She's rather forthright, and this press release was saying in no uncertain terms how disgraceful this was. Well, now that taxi firm's gone back on its promise, and it is picking up disabled people. Now that's UKIP having an immediate effect to improve things for the better for the people in an area, and that's something we can do. Amongst the things I've done, when we had the county council elections last year, I went on a bit of a tour. I know Nigel does his tours, he gathers in hundreds of people. Oh, well, you know, I'll do mine and gather in 1 or 2. And I went around the country and campaigned in as many different areas as I could. I went to Staffordshire, Shropshire, Worcestershire, Warwickshire, Derbyshire and Essex. Essex was different to the other ones. Essex was amazing fun. I went down there in a campaign for a lady called Lucy Bostic, who's on our NEC. And she was standing in the county council elections. And we were in the middle of this town. It was a town much like any other, on the high street, walking along, UKIP, signs, everything. And people were coming over to us and saying, fantastic, come on, we need you. We've got a taxi driver going up and down the high street with UKIP signs, beeping its horn, making a noise. We were a pain. And we worked the whole day, and people had come from all over the place to support us. And Lucy did really well in that election. She didn't quite win. She did extremely well. And all across these county council elections, we were above 20%, we were above 25%, in some cases we were above 30%, and we did take over 100 seats that night. That, ladies and gentlemen, and I mean this, was nothing. That was absolutely nothing. And we need to think that way. We need to think, well done to those who worked so hard. God bless you. But now we take it on. I fought in a totally different campaign. I was a police and crime commissioner candidate for the West Midlands. Very little coverage of that campaign. No one really interested in police and crime commissioners, but one Sunday morning I was having a bit of a lie-in. I may have had a pint or two the night before, but don't tell anyone. And the phone rang, and very unusual this time around, picked it up, and it was Nigel Farage. Bit of a shock. Well, half an hour later, we finished our conversation, during which my one word was, yes. And I was the West Midlands Police and Crime Commissioner candidate. And we fought all across the West Midlands, and we got a total budget of spend that we got from cake sales, raffles, bring and buy sales, all the things, 1,900 quid. To cover the whole West Midlands, which is the second largest policing area outside of London. The Labour Party spent nearer to £100,000. And we didn't do brilliantly, we got about 8%. But what we did do, we started to get coverage, and people saw that UKIP had got policies on domestic matters. They also saw that UKIP will go to a hustings anywhere and talk to anybody about anything. There was this view that we were some kind of stormtroopers coming in with bottom boots and, oh no, we don't like this kind of thing. Well, I went to hustings in a mosque, I went to hustings in the Pink Shield, they were called, the gay, lesbian, transsexual group. I went to hustings of the ladies group, Afro-Caribbean, you name it. I went to everyone, and every one of them, without fail, was amazed to see me walk through the door. And by the end of it, all right, I hadn't looked particularly, I'm sure, but they saw us as an honest, decent, respectable political party that cares about everybody. And that's the important thing. That was another bit of knocking that door just a little bit wider. When I did my hustings in the mosque, at the end of it, a very young man came running out after me and said, I've got to be quick and tell you this because I'm not sure how well it will go down with the other people here, but you've inspired me. A party of such honesty, and it opens its arms to all of us. I'm inspired. I'll never forget tonight. I'll never forget that UKIP is here for me as well. I never thought it was. And then I went to one event which will stick with me in my memory forever. Now, the place where the West Midlands Police have their offices is called Lloyd House. And one of the candidates, we had 3 independents candidates in this election. One of them was the Bishop Derek Webley, who's a guy, he's a black gentleman with a great charisma and a lot of following, and a community leader and a speaker, and also a genuinely lovely bloke, really nice. And we were at the Afro-Caribbean Community Centre, and there were about 400 or 500 people in the crowd, and there were Derek's support. There is no question of this. And I was there to talk, and I sat there behind him, and Derek got up, and he gave this oration. This amazing, from the pulpit kind of speech, stunning. And he said at the end of it, he said, just now, we've had Barack Obama in the White House. He said, at the end of this election, let's have Derek Webley in Lloyd House. And the whole place erupted. Hundreds of people standing on chairs. Incredible. 4 or 5 minutes standing ovation. He was lapping it up. I said to him afterwards, that's amazing. I've just seen a great speech. And I stood up, And I was still cheering for Derek, and I was looking at him, wouldn't stop. Anyway, I said, well, I can't really follow that, can I? I said, what I will say to you, and I mean it, is that I'm from UKIP, and UKIP is here to listen to you. So, I'm not going to win you over tonight, I'm sure of that from most of the people here, but I want you to remember tonight, and remember me, and remember the things I say when I'm talking to you. Just think on afterwards. Just think we are not an exclusive party, and we're not the things that they say we are. We're here because we care about what you think. And at the end of the night, a lot of people shook my hands and we'd moved on. And one more little story from this. I went to a hustings in a place called Handsworth. Handsworth is in the city of Birmingham, and it's a place that's had a lot of community troubles. And there was a gentleman there, very big chap, and he came over to me. He was about 6'5", and with his dreadlocks, he was probably about 6'7", 6'8". He was huge. And he came over to me and said, "Hey, you, Mr. UKIP man, come on, I want to talk to you. So he summoned me over, and I went and had a quick chat with him. He said, "I've been watching you tonight. And I've looked in your eyes. And I've got something to say to you." So, well, this might be difficult. This might not be good. He got this close to me and said, "You're the only honest man here. I'm voting for you." And that was the thing. It's showing the honesty and the conviction and the passion of what we believe. There's nowhere where we can't go because there's no one we don't care about. That's the difference. And now we come forward to where we are now. And this is the really big point. And you have to excuse me because sometimes I get a bit carried away. And you'll understand why when I tell you. Because Britain in 2014, it's not great, is it? It could be better. You're free as long as you do what you're told. Yeah. You're free to go out and shop and buy the things you're told to buy. You're that free. You're free to express your opinions as long as they're the opinions that you're allowed to have. But you express an opinion that's a little bit unusual, a little bit different. Oh, you'll soon find out how free you are, folks. You're not free. Take it on to 2024. 10 years from now, no UKIP, we've lost. We've gallantly tried, we had a good old go with a laugh, with a few pints along the way, and we had a jolly good time. Oh, what jolly good folks we are, how jolly. And we lose. No real nation state anymore. No. An EU-dominated trading area where you have nothing but global corporations setting the rules, and all rules set to make it easy for you to consume the homogenised, standardised, regulated stuff that they want you to spend your suppressed minimum wages on that you've been out there working for. No views allowed. You could perhaps have a religious view. You better keep it to yourself and don't wear a cross. And don't talk about church. You might have when you express yourself about your sexuality, you might express yourself about your artistic nature, anything you wish. Don't you dare. Don't you dare, because we've all got to stay within this little box. If you move outside it, well, you know, you aren't necessarily breaking the law, but it's not really on. And things aren't going to work out too well for you. And then we come to the votes. Democracy. Well, we'll have the Conservative Party, and the Labour Party, and the Lib Dems, and it won't matter which one you vote for, because what you'll get is the EU. And you'll be regulated, and you'll be told what to do, and there'll be no difference between them. And the amount of rules they make will be down to this, and no one will vote. You get a tiny turnout at elections. And I can even see a time when parties like UKIP are banned. UKIP calls to leave the EU. Well, the stock market won't like that. Oh, you're damaging the economy. I'm sorry, you are dangerous. You've got to be stopped. All freedom of speech suppressed. 10 years from now, all, we've got elections coming up on the 22nd of May. Not long from now, folks. Not long from now. I tell you, if we win these elections, and I don't just mean isolated pockets of resistance, I mean, we go out and win these elections, what you'll see is complete panic, total turmoil in British politics. If we come first, and it's going to be hard because Labour are fighting hard on this, the Tories are in free fall, the Lib Dems are in free fall, forget the Greens and the BNP, they're irrelevant. What you've got is Labour and UKIP fighting this election. If they beat us, we've got a problem. If we beat them and take hundreds of council seats across this country at the same time, what we've got is a platform now. And the day after those elections, and the results are counted, we don't rest and nurse our handovers. I'm sure I'll be proud to have one. I'll have a massive one. I'll have a 10-arm handover. I'll be quite happy with that. However, I'll be up the next day, because then we start for 2015. Because these two dates of May 2014 and May 2015 are the single most important democratic dates in the modern history of Britain. There are no other elections in any of our lifetimes that have mattered a damn in comparison to this. If we don't do this now, we will never do it. I tell you that as someone who devotes his entire life to this cause. We must do it now. So, I put it to you, and I'm not going to put anyone on the spot, but I'm just going to say this to you now. There are excuses not to do things. Short of money, I know that one. Short of time, I know that one. Bit shy, don't really want to go out and confront people. I don't know that one as well, but I know that that happens. All I'd say to you is, write a little list yourself. Between now and May, write down a little list of all the reasons why you can't do something for UKIP. And then when the vote's counted, read that list back. And if we've lost, if you can sleep, if your conscience will allow you to rest, reading back that list, then okay. Okay. However, I stand here not as someone who's going to preach you. I'm no better than anyone else. I'm no saint, believe me. But I bought into this cause. I believe in it with all of my heart and soul. And I'm not going to have a single thing on my list. There's going to be nothing. I will have done everything I can to enable UKIP to win in May, which will then allow us to go on and take seats in Parliament. And we'll no longer have a country that the world over is looked at as used to be quite an important country. Not anymore. Used to be the home of democracy. Not anymore. The only thing they know us for is, well, Tony Blair. Tony Blair, who, more than any other man, I would suggest in the history of this country, has done damage to our nation. Yeah. And now, where is he? Well, he's off being an international ambassador, raking in the millions. Raking in the millions while there's people out there who are struggling from day to day. Economic recovery? Well, it might be in a couple of shareholders' pockets, but I'll tell you what, there's not for us, there's not an economic recovery for people in council estates in Dudley, and I'm sure they're saying here, who are being penalised with things, for example, like the bedroom tax. Now, the idea is move people on. We've only got so many bedrooms, move them on. There's nowhere to go. There's nowhere to go. So what you do, you're pushing people from places, you're turning them into numbers. No humanity. But that's because we're all in these over-regulated numbers. You have this country now going down a path that is going to be really impossible to reverse if we don't do it now. So, I stand here and I plead with you, every one of you, as much as I can without seeming ludicrous or stupid in any way. I hope I don't But I plead with you, if you love our country, and if more you love the concept of freedom, which I believe is the single most important thing that any of us could ever know or value in our lives, if you love this concept of freedom, join with the team. It's not just Nigel Farage, it's not just Paul Nuttall, it's all of us. They can't do it without us. Join with the team. Don't leave anything behind. Give it our all. We're not perfect. We're going to make mistakes along the way. There's a jolly good team spirit while we're doing it. I'm sure we'll have that. But at the end of it, just know that you may well have saved your country. And even more, you may well have saved the future for your children and grandchildren. So, thank you all for inviting me here tonight, and thank you for allowing me to give you my view on things. And I'll be more than happy to answer any questions that there are. And I say to you, you've got friends and colleagues all across the country who are doing what you guys are going to be doing. You're not on your own. We're one big team, united by a love of freedom and our country. And thank you.